So oftentimes when we meet people in person, they ask us, how do you do everything that you do? The fact is, we don't do it all. And this car is a perfect example of how we do not accomplish everything we want to accomplish. The car's been sitting for 2 years now. We walk past it, we see the spider webs on it and the dust, and it's a frustrating thing, but we're so busy in our business and trying to do different things.
Yeah, sometimes life just gets in the way of the things you want to do, the person you want to be, the places you want to go. All the goals that you have can just end up on a shelf.
This car is a good example of it. It's something we're extremely passionate about. We dated in this car. We love this car. I mean, it's my pride and joy. However, it managed to sit there in the shop for 2 years and not be touched. My biggest concern when people come to me and say, I don't know how you do it all, is that they somehow perceive Emily and I as these people that are able to accomplish more than is physically possible in an 8-hour day or even a 10-hour day. And that's not the message we want to send. So this car is a good example of how sometimes you just can't do it all. Sometimes stuff has to go on the shelf and wait. When time rolls back around, hit it hard and enjoy the process.
Here we are, pulling this car back out, going to get it back on the road and create more memories in it, which is what it's all about for us. I know you guys are also so thankful not to see the Z car sitting over here in the corner anymore. Man, it was so crazy to realize that she's been sitting for 2 years. Initially, the reason that we parked the car is because we pulled the transmission out of it very last minute, drag week 2019, when we were building Roxy, because we realized Roxy had her original T56 in her and Zen had a built T56. So we were like, let's just borrow Zen's transmission for drag week. We didn't realize that it had the F body shift pattern. So on the dyno, we were like, what the heck, this transmission is not working properly. And it was because of the shift pattern. So we then placed that transmission on the ground. Zen sat here for 2 years and Roxy ended up getting a T56 Magnum. So sadly, Aaron's baby sat for 2 years.
We're gonna get it back together. It shouldn't take too long, except for we've already discovered we've lost like half the bolts.
Isn't that the way it goes, man?
Yeah.
We got it on the lift at like 10, and we've just been looking for bolts and parts, like the slave cylinder. We pulled the transmission out.
345.
We knew that where the transmission was. That's not hard to lose. That's not easy to lose, I mean. But we did lose the slave cylinder, but thankfully we found another one, and we've got that ready. We've got bolts ready to go now.
Yeah, at least the initial ones. I don't know where drive shaft bolts are or shifter bolts or any of that.
You want to just be able to throw it back together, but I guess when something's been sitting for 2 years.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, y'all, let's do some stuff. I've got a little parts cleaner and degreaser from CRC. I'm gonna blow this transmission down a little bit with this stuff so that it's a little more tidy. It's really not that dirty, but it's got a little bit of buildup on it. And then, of course, this input shaft is dirty, so I want to get that a little bit cleaned up before we sand it.
You're supposed to have gloves on.
Probably should put some gloves on. You know what's really awesome is we have a brand new slave cylinder for Zen. And Garfield's over there like, really guys? That's mine. We ordered this from Advance for Garfield the truck because Garfield needs a new one. Now Garfield's gonna sit for 2 years. Just kidding.
Not a chance.
So all we have to do to get this guy ready to install in Zen, Aaron already pulled the pin out of this fitting. We have to pull this guy out, and then we will replace it with this adapter that goes up to a -4 for the stainless hose that will run this one in Zen. So it's gonna be awesome, and we'll just order another one for Garfield.
No big deal.
Let's get this all adapted and ready to install. Here's our steel braided hose that we're going to be running. And to do that, we have to switch this fitting over to this fitting. So there's this little roll pin that Aaron had already removed. That way we could pull this one out. So we're going to go ahead and seat this guy and get our roll pin back in. If you're shopping for car parts, be sure to check the description for our coupon code with Advance. you can get 25% off of most parts, online and on their app. Good to go. Let's slap that sucker on. Now, sometimes you have to shim these out, and Aaron and I could not remember if we had shims behind this slave cylinder. We believe that we didn't, and so our clutch should work great, but sometimes you have to shim it, and it's a real pain to figure out the geometry of how much shim you have to do and all that. So I feel like we don't remember having to do that on this car, so hopefully we don't need one. Well, there's 2 lock washers there. Thank you for the lock washers, babe.
Welcome.
Hee hee.
I'll get you a wrench for that. You can put that on.
Okay.
Actually, let's spray that out with some Brakleen first.
Let's clean it. Put my safety glasses back on. Okay. Super, super spiffy. All right, hey. Get it installed. Okay. Aaron even brought me a zip tie so that I can coil this bad boy up and keep it out of our way. Got it. So as we were getting ready to sling this thing on the transmission jack, we realized that we don't actually have the transmission mount. That guy right there. Unfortunately, we cannot find it. We did a bunch of searching around in boxes that we have on the shelf this morning for a slave cylinder, and did not find a transmission mount. Yeah. Oh yeah. Functional. It's almost flush.
Yeah, it's flush on the bottom. Just the jack up.
Beautiful.
Let's get some bolts in there.
Oh, babe.
Cool, it's going.
She gonna be back on the road soon.
Mm-hmm.
Looking nice. Next time you see us, we will have a transmission mount, and it'll be time to bolt this thing in for real. Get a drive shaft in it.
Exhaust.
Some exhaust. That's gonna be a pain, but she'll be on the road before we know it. What do we have here?
Universal mount. We'll see if it works.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Might work.
looks pretty dang good to me.
Yeah, as long as it's not too tall. If it is, we'll move this to the bottom of here.
Yeah, could definitely do that. Heck yeah. I left my glasses on today instead of wearing my contacts because I hate safety glasses. There's all kinds of junk that falls out from under this car.
Mostly rust.
It's actually not too rusty under here anymore, Aaron.
No, it's just when we put the floor pans in, there's room for improvement.
Oh yeah,
We're gonna redo it.
that was the first real metal work we'd ever done.
Yeah, it was a learning process, and we know more now, so we'll fix it in the future.
Yeah. She's not rotting away anymore.
Exactly.
That was the goal.
You want to sand the drive shaft? You want me to?
Go for it. Like a boss. So good.
4 more sides. Jack all the way down?
No,
I'd let it down now.
I think you're right.
You might be fighting against it.
Yep. All the way down to Funky Town. Rah, 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 rah. Okay.
Now, truly, let's talk about
Truly.
this.
Making me thirsty. Just kidding.
All right. If we were not filming, how long would it have taken to put that back in? 45 minutes, probably?
Yeah. Dang, that had some distance.
Yeah, so that went pretty easy. It popped in quick.
It did.
It was just a matter of finding bolts.
Aaron's going to get bolts for the drive shaft, and I'm going to tighten bell housing bolts. I'm starting with the hardest one, and I put my gloves on in case I slip. I don't bang my knuckle open, which I've done many a time.
So we lost our drive shaft bolts. Luckily, we had one still up in there. But when I look at it, well, if you guys can see that, it's bent. It's almost like it's sheared right about here where it bolts on. So that bolt is not high enough quality. And so I didn't want to use those. So I went to the hardware store and I got this. The guy said it's a higher grade. However, we had a problem with the head of it. It wouldn't let me put the bolt in. So I just took that to the bench grinder, knocked a little bit off the edges, and now they go in. So we should have bolts. When I see this, I assume that that bolt probably loosened up a little bit. And so we're gonna put some blue Loctite on them, which is gonna make it a pain to take back off. So we'll get a little Loctite on those, get the drive shaft in. I already got it sanded up. So let's go.
Oh, thank you.
It needs nuts and washers.
Well, I was gonna say, is the inside of this threaded and I can't see it?
I thought it threaded in there, but apparently it doesn't. Oh boy.
Afraid not.
Okay.
I wonder if we have some nuts that'll work.
Let me try to find them.
We dug through our bolt bin and found some ones that will work, hopefully. Freaking me out. What was in there?
A spider?
No. Oh, maybe it was my hair. When I looked down, I felt something like on my arm, and I think it was my own hair. Oh, man. I think we're good. Well, obviously, we really wanted to drive this car at the end of this episode, but that's not the way it goes sometimes. But at least she's not sitting over there in the corner anymore. She's a little bit closer to hitting the road.
Yeah, we've had literally 2 days at home out of the last 2 weeks, and we're back on the road here in about an hour, I guess. We still have to do exhaust. We need to put the O2 sensor in, find the wires for it, hook it up. Got to hook that clutch up, bleed it. What else? We need to put a battery in, probably drain the old gas out.
Yeah, we're sketched out by the fuel that's been sitting in the tank for 2 years.
Yeah,
so.
you know, ethanol is just not the best thing to be sitting around. So I'm sure it's compromised. So we'll just drain that out, get new stuff in, because we certainly don't want to damage our injectors and stuff like that. But other than that, what else do we have to do? Put a shifter in and basically just get the bugs out of it.
I'm
Get
sure
it
we'll
running
find
again.
other stuff as we're putting it together. We'll be like, oh, how did we forget about this?
Yeah. So hopefully next episode you'll see us finish that stuff up. We'll go drive it, rip around a little bit.
Go do burnouts.
See if we can, you know, I'm sure those tires have a little crust on them sitting around, so we got to burn that off.
Yes.
And it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Huge thanks to Advance Auto for helping us and our livelihood in making this show possible. It means the world to us. And thank you to them also for giving you guys 25% off when you use the coupon code that's in our description. It's pretty awesome, online and on their app. On most parts, you can get 25% off. It's awesome.
It's really nice.
We're very happy, very excited to get Zen back on the road, and we'll see you guys on future episodes.